Hey, your host Claire here. Welcome to another cold crime video. This is one of the most disturbing and nonsense cases that I have ever covered. So if you are under 18 or not interested in crime, this video isn't for you. I highly recommend you to skip it. Nothing is more important than your mental health. Let's stay silent for a few seconds for Tristan Bailey, who's been taken from this world far too soon.
Me and Brittany are gonna live together. And then I'm gonna have one kid, so our kids can just get along. I'm either gonna have a hermit crab or a bearded dragon, aka a lizard. I'm not bearded dragon. And then me and Brittany, well, we don't know what state we're gonna live in or something.
What are the other questions you had to answer?
Oh.
How many kids are you going to have and what are there going to be their names?
Okay, I'm going to have one kid. Gender-wise, it's going to be a girl. If it's not a girl, well, sorry.
On the morning of Sunday, May 9th, 2021, Mother's Day, Tristan's mom and dad were already making breakfast. Everything was going well and they had no idea something happened to their Tristan. One of the sisters went up to wake up Tristan around 10 a.m., but Tristan was not asleep in her bed, and she was nowhere to be found. This kicked off a search for a team that included law enforcement and the community. Many people were busy looking for Tristan, and just 5 p.m. on Sunday, a missing child alert was issued. One of the neighbors who was out jogging at the time decided to take a different route that day. As he was doing his workout, he saw a girl's body. It was in the wooded area at the south end of Retention Pond east of the cul-de-sac on Saddlestone Drive. The community that they lived in had no history when it comes to crimes. This is known as a neighborhood that doesn't see a lot of police activity or crime. People look like they're part of an upper middle class and well-mannered. Before we talk about who did this to her, let's first know who Tristan was. Who can tell more better than Tristan's mother?
For those of you that were blessed to personally know her, you know what an amazing and fiery personality she had, and you can attest that she was the kind of friend that you would like to have, and she always had your back. Tristan's determination to be front and center was evident the day that she was born because she was the loudest one in the nursery. She was the only blonde one in the nursery, and she was just, here I am. She had a drive in her soul to be the best and always give 100% to achieve her goals. A small story about her drive is when we put Tristan in swimming, thinking that this was an amazing sport and a life skill. And while she liked it, it was not her passion, so she moved on to lacrosse. Let's talk about that. The realization that it's really hot in the outdoors in Florida. And this is not her thing either. But boy, did she want to cheer. I personally could not bear the thought of going back into the cheer and dance world, as I knew the time and commitment that it took from me coaching cheer and her older siblings spending up to 6 hours a day at the cheer gym or the dance studios. But Tristan was determined to prove to me that she was going to be a cheerleader whether I liked it or not. From teaching herself how to do her splits, her back bends, her back walkovers, just to prove to me how much she wanted to be a cheerleader, I caved. And so it began. This is where her passion and drive grew to be the best she could be. Over the past couple of years, Tristan was always on all-star cheer and in school cheer. This is where she this year, she shared team captain on her POA cheer team with one of her besties. It was a huge goal for her. As our All-Star Cheer family knows, Summit and Worlds is your goal. Tristan's ultimate goal was to be in one of these. While at Zone All-Star Cheer, her team achieved getting that bid, but it was sadly taken away from COVID. This past year, Tristan had switched gyms to Infinity All-Stars, and she became more determined than ever to make that goal happen. These girls from Majesty worked so hard and developed a bond that is unbreakable. They won their UCA cheer competition, and that dream came alive as they got the bid to compete at Summit. Tristan, you did it. You met your goal. Her drive and passion did not stop there. When she would come home after school, I was always given the tea of the day, and a lot of it because she had a lot to say. She spilled a lot of tea. I would sit here in amazement listening to some of her stories, and I learned she was the kind of friend that I would like to have. She always defended those who could not defend themselves. Some of you may not know it, but she was very sensitive, and she never wanted to disappoint anyone. Tristan cared deeply for her friends and always wanted to have as many friends as she could. And oh my goodness, she was so funny, you guys, so funny. She could be a silly teenager, but could have heart-to-hearts with an adult like she was an adult. And I think that she truly forgot that they were my friends too. She tried to take them over. She was an honor roll student, determined to succeed academically, going as far as taking her first high school credit online this year just to get ahead in school. There are so many things I could share about this sweet girl, and in the future I will. For now, I will follow what Tristan has always said. Get it together. You got this, Mom. Always and forever, my cheerleader and my sweet baby girl.
The police tried their best to find the suspect as soon as possible, which led them to a surveillance camera captured Tristan walking with another individual at 1:45 a.m., who was wearing shorts and a light-colored hoodie. They both were walking in the direction of the wooded area where she would later be found brutally murdered. About 2 hours later, at 3:27 a.m., only one person was spotted walking away from the wooded area back down a saddlestone, walking alone with his shoes in hand. The discovery of this footage led investigators to the home of 40-year-old Aiden Pucci. Aiden lived just 0.3 miles away from that wooded area where Tristan was found. Initially, police went to Aiden's home for questioning. Aiden's mother and stepfather consented to the questioning and were present the entire time. Aiden stated that he had walked home with Tristan that night, but the pair had gone separate ways shortly after he turned onto her street around 1:30 a.m. When asked why it took him so long to get home, Aiden told detectives that he walked around alone for a while, telling deputies that he kept walking until he got home around 3:30 a.m. He said he needed to clear his head. Officers noted down his story and went to pursue other leads. Still nothing. That Aiden was the last person to see Tristan alive. After an hour later, the same officer returned to talk to Aiden once more and asked him to drive with him along the road, and he walked down and agreed, his stepfather stating he would follow behind them. After the officer left the home with Aiden, his mother, Crystal Smith, was seen on her home security camera footage, entering her son's room, grabbing a pair of pants off the floor, and attempting to wash them in the bathroom sink. She then takes the jeans downstairs and puts them in the family's washing machine. These jeans were reported to be the ones that Aiden had been wearing that night and be covered in Tristan's blood. Shortly moments later, Aiden changed his story. He claimed that he had left Tristan on her own to walk the rest of the way home, but instead that they had gotten into a small fight.
Hey, are you Aiden?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I'm Detective Police Officer with the Sheriff's Office. We're trying to figure out where Tristan's at, and I'm not trying to get you in trouble or anything like that. Obviously, I'm more concerned right now about her safety and what she's doing and where she could be hanging out. You're telling him that there may be another path that he's maybe staying at? Or she's staying at? What's the path?
There's like a trail that goes super deep down there.
Down into the woods?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you heard from her at all? No? Okay. All right. So, are you willing to kind of give me a statement about what's going on with her?
Yeah, so we're at Trey's house, and then I stayed there till probably like 1:50 a.m. And then I was really late to be home, so I just had to leave, or else my mom would like seriously just kill me.
Okay.
So we started walking home, and then next to like where that brick wall starts up there
Okay.
is where like she touched my dick, and I like pushed her off me real hard, and then I just kind of like kind of walked away out of anger.
What's your last name? So make sure. Whoa. What was it?
Gucci.
Gucci? Okay. All right. Anything else you think I need to know about that'll really help me out?
Her best friend.
Who's her best friend?
Best friend's name is Shayla.
Shyla. Okay. All right. Now down this path that you're telling me about, is this like a place where kids go to like do drugs or drink? What?
It's usually a place for people to like chill out and do acid or
Okay.
just smoke weed.
Okay.
That place.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you, Aiden. We're gonna try to see if we can locate her over there. All right. All right.
It's like when you're going down there, on there, you can like see that there's a path. It's just like an open area in the woods, and then you just keep going down the trail. Yeah, and there's like a tree that you can walk on to go even farther.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Thank you, Aiden.
The complete change of story made the police suspect that Aiden had played a larger part in the girl's disappearance. The officer placed Aiden in the back of his cop car and drove the teen to the area in which the search for Tristan was taking place. But while he was waiting in the back seat of the police car uncuffed, Aiden snaps these pictures of himself, where he is flashing a peace sign and the caption says, "Hi guys, has anybody seen Tristan lately?" and sent it to his friends, and luckily some of his friends screenshot it. He also shared the video with one of his friends.
We're having fun in a fucking cop car.
Yep. Tristan.
What's up, guys?
Yep.
Tristan, if you fucking walk out the damn...
When you see this in a month.
A moment later, Aiden sent a message to his girlfriend saying,
Hey Siri, text Dream Girl, they took my phone, I'm using Siri, and I love you, bye.
Your message to Dream Girl says they took my phone, I'm using Siri, and I love you, bye. Ready to send it?
Yes.
Okay, it's sent.
Hey Siri, text Dream Girl, I can't see your text, the phone's in the front seat, I'm talking through the glass.
Your message to Dream Girl says I can't see your text. Ready to send it?
No.
Okay, I won't send it just yet. Let me know when you're ready to continue.
Hey Siri, text Dream Girl, I'm talking through the glass. I cannot see your text.
Your message to Dream Girl says I'm talking through the glass, I cannot see your text. Ready to send it?
Yes.
Okay, it's sent.
Hey Siri, text Dream Girl,
Please stick with me through this.
Sorry, I missed that. Could you say it again, please?
Please stick with me through this.
I'm sorry.
Aiden's girlfriend, an 8th grader who has a dating relationship with Aiden, told police that the boy talked frequently about killing people. He always carried a knife when he was not in school, and Aiden often took his interest a bit too far, greeting his girlfriend by pretending to slit her throat and make it a habit to sneak up behind her and pretend to cause her mortal harm. Days before Tristan's killing, Aiden told his girlfriend that he planned to kill someone, though he didn't specify who that was going to be. He said it would be at night, he would drag someone into the woods and he would stab them, and it would happen within a month. He said he would act innocent, keep killing, and run away.
Today's date is May 12th, 2021. The time is 1:18 p.m. I am Detective Newman of the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office, a law enforcement deputy conducting a criminal investigation. This interview is being conducted at 100 Woodcross Drive. I am interviewing. Before we get started, I would like to confirm that this statement is a voluntary statement, that no one has threatened you, coerced you, or induced you to give this statement. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And I'd also like to go ahead and confirm that we asked your parents if it was okay for you to talk alone, and they agreed, and that you requested to speak to me alone. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to place you under oath. This will be a sworn recorded interview taken by a law enforcement deputy pursuant to Florida Statute 117.10. Please raise your right hand.
Sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the statement you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. You can go ahead and put your hand down. What's your address, Sophie? Okay. And do you have a cell phone?
I do.
What is your cell phone number?
Uh,
Okay. How old are you? You're 15?
I'm 15 years old.
Do you work anywhere?
I do not.
Okay. Where do you go to school?
Patriot Oaks Academy.
Okay. What grade are you in?
I'm in 8th.
Okay. So we've talked to obviously a lot of people about this case. There's a lot of people saying a lot of different things, but one of the things that I understand is that Aiden Fucci was your boyfriend. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Can you tell me about Aiden?
Aiden, he was a really tough kid. He had a lot of issues, and
It's okay. Take a deep breath. Until you're shaking up. It's okay.
I know that there was a really rough time for him at home. He would talk about that a lot.
What would he tell you about that?
He would tell me his mom would tell him he was a disappointment to her family, that he felt neglected by her, that he felt neglected by both of his parents, that he was the least favorite in his family. He told me that sometimes his dad would hit him, and his dad never really let him show emotions.
When we're talking about his dad, are we talking about his biological father? Okay.
Yeah. But it seems that he had a little bit of a better relationship with his dad than his mom. He had anger issues. I was aware of that. He told me that he really hated getting angry. And he hated doing things that he didn't mean to do when he got angry.
What type of things would he do when he got angry?
He usually told me he would just throw something. I never really saw him that angry before. He never kind of let me.
Okay. Have you ever seen Aiden get violent with anybody?
Yes.
Who?
There was a incident where we went to the South Amenity Center for this thing that usually goes on Friday. It's called Food Trucks. And I guess he was gonna get a vape from this kid, and instead of, like, I guess buying it from him, he just took it, and then the kid tried to, like, hit him, so he hit him back, and he beat him up.
Who was that kid?
All I know is that his name was Henrik.
Okay.
It's the only time I saw him got violent, though.
Okay. What was Aiden and Trey's relationship like? How are they?
We were all kind of best friends, but Trey and Aiden, they were really the only two kids at their school that had each other's back. Both of them grew up, I know that both of them kind of grew up in a rough area, and they were both known for kind of having bad records, so they got along and they hung out a lot. You know, they would get angry at each other. I know that they got in a big fight half of the year, but I wasn't there at that time. But they considered each other like brothers.
Okay. Was there anybody else that they hung out with a lot?
It was mostly every day just the three of us. There were just a few people that we would occasionally be with once in a while, but they never really kind of became part of our group of three,
Okay.
I guess.
Did Aiden carry any personal items on him every day? I mean, what did he normally keep with him?
Aiden kept knives for protection. He
Okay.
always had a knife on him if he wasn't at school. He would keep his AirPods. He listened to music to try and calm him down. He said that helped him with
Okay.
his anger.
When you say he kept knives, was it, usually a different knife? Did he have one that he was partial to that was like his favorite, or?
He had like a few. He didn't really say he had a favorite. He just had knives, and sometimes he'd bring one or another, or
Did he say any? Did he have? I mean, when you say knives, we're talking like
just like pocket knives. I
folding
guess.
pocket knives?
Yeah, like they would fold up and.
Okay. If you had to describe any of them that you can remember, could you tell me about what they looked like?
Yeah. Well, there was mainly two that he would have on him, and it was one that his stepdad gave him. It was like a kind of gray, black, like army-looking one. It had a skull on it, maybe like an orange skull on it or something, and he called it Picker.
Okay.
Because it had, I guess, teeth. The knife had.
You mean like it had a serrated edge?
Yeah.
Okay. Did he have any others that he kept?
Yeah.
Normally.
There was another one. It was like yellow, and it was like it was made out of wood, I think.
Okay.
And he called that one.
Did it look like this?
Yeah.
Did it look like it, or is that the same type of knife?
That's the same knife.
Okay. And just so you understand, I'm holding a folding buck knife
Yeah.
with a brass frame, right, and a wooden handle. Okay. So you've seen him carry a knife like that
Yeah. It was
pretty commonly?
Yeah, it was mainly those two.
Okay.
He broke one of them.
And I think I cut you off. You were saying he called it something?
He called one picker, and then he called that one poker.
Okay. Did Aiden ever discuss anything to you that would make you think he wanted to try to use a knife on somebody or anything like that?
Aiden talked about killing people a lot.
He did?
Yeah. But Aiden and I had a dark sense of humor, and I never took him seriously.
Right.
He talked about wanting to kill me. Sometimes he would take his knife and pretend to stab me with it. Or sometimes he would come up behind me and put it against my throat and pretend to slit my throat. But I wasn't scared or anything. He never...
You trusted him?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, he would also, like, freak out if he accidentally elbowed me and apologize. Shit like that, so... Sorry, just...
No, I understand. I'm going to kind of jump around a little bit because I've got a lot of questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever hear Aiden and Trey discuss a specific plan to do something to somebody?
No.
Did you ever hear Aiden discuss having a certain plan that he wanted to carry out? And not maybe specifically to a certain person, but did he ever discuss in detail, like, this is how I would do something, or this is what I want to do?
Yeah, he did.
Can you tell me about that?
We were sitting on my roof, and the topic was brought up again about, he asked me, like, what I would do if he murdered someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what my answer really was, but he would say that if he was going to murder someone, it was going to be planned.
Okay. I know it's tough, but I want you to kind of go into detail about what he said he would do when he planned this.
He said that he would just walk at night or something and find, like, a random person walking to and just drag them in the woods and stab them.
Okay.
He said that he thinks it's gonna happen soon. He said I should expect it within the month.
And when was that he said this?
I think this month. I don't know.
Where did he tell you that?
On the roof of my house.
Okay. Did he ever discuss any other details about how he would do it? I mean, is that pretty much the gist of it, or was there something else?
That was basically what he said.
Did he ever discuss trying to conceal, like if he was to hurt somebody, how he would try to get away with it or anything?
He said he'd just act innocent and keep killing people, and then he would run away or something.
Okay.
And make people think that he was dead too and just keep on doing it.
Okay. Did Aiden, other than what you just told me, did he communicate anything to you about, hey, I think I'm going to do this weekend, or I'm going to do something? Did you guys have any talks about stuff like that?
No.
Okay.
He didn't. The only time that we would really talk about something like that was never over text. Or it would be like in person, and
okay,
we would just talk.
Did Aiden use any social media accounts?
I know that he used Snapchat.
Do you know his Snap?
It's Aiden Tech _ something. But
is it Aiden TECH? Or
I think it might have a K. but he has a Instagram that has his Snapchat in his Instagram bio. So if you just look up Aiden, Fucci, his Instagram will pop up, and you'll see it in his bio.
Was Aiden like really protective of his phone? Would he ever let you use his phone?
He would let me use his phone.
Okay.
He was never protective of it.
Do you know how would you get into his phone?
He would tell me his password.
Do you know it?
It's his birthday, but he had it, like, it was a long password, and he had it, like, a weird way to, like, kind of put your birthday as your password. I don't know. I know that he was born on November 6, 2006.
When you say it was long, like, if you had to guess how many digits it was, what do you think?
Maybe, like, 6 or 7 digits.
Okay. And you don't remember the code? I mean, you don't remember parts of it or how it started, or?
I would always, like, forget his password. I never, like, memorized it. I just know that, like, the number 11 is in there somewhere, and that there's probably number 6 or something. I don't know.
Okay. Did he change his password often, or he always used the same one?
No, he always had the same one.
Okay. Let's talk about Tristan for a minute. How well do you know Tristan? Or did you know Tristan?
We weren't friends, but we hung out. I wasn't super close with her, but we hung out once, and I knew her from Trey. And he would just kind of invite her over, and she would talk to Aiden, because Aiden knew Trey, and she, like, I never really, like, hung out with them all together. I only did that once.
When was that?
I don't know how long ago it was. I just knew that Aiden and I were having a sleepover at Trey's, and he invited Tristan over for a little, and then she went home.
Okay. What do you think happened Saturday night, Sunday morning? Well, before we get into that, let me ask you this. Did you talk with Trey at all Saturday night or Sunday morning?
No. Yes. Actually, yes. Sunday morning, we had a few exchanges. The first thing he said to me, he said, "Yo, Tristan's missing." And I was like, "What?" And then he said, "I'm talking to the police now." And then he Snapchatted me, like, a little bit before I think the police took his phone. We were just talking about how crazy this was and how, like, confused we were and, like, what was going on. I was trying to ask about Aiden. And Trey and Aiden were just in the back of the cop car. Aiden seemed fine.
So, you were talking with Trey or with Aiden?
I was talking with both of them.
Okay. Did Aiden convey anything to you or say anything over the phone, social media, text, anything that would lead you to believe that there was something more than just Tristan missing?
We were Snapchatting, and then he told me, "Hey, I think they're going to arrest me. They're reading me my rights. I'm going to plead the 5th." And that he said he loved me, and I got a FaceTime from him, and I answered it, and he said, "I love you." And then he hung up.
Okay. That's all he said? He didn't say anything further?
That's all he said.
Okay.
I can't remember all of things we said to one another. I just said it's gonna be okay because I didn't know that she was dead. I just thought that she was at her friend's house or something. He told me that he got home around 1, that they both left Trey's house at 1 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he went his way and she went her way, and that Tristan said that she just wasn't going home.
Okay.
And he said that she's probably just doing some stupid shit at a friend's house or something.
Okay. Have you ever been to the area of the woods where Tristan was found?
I don't believe I have.
Do you know where I'm talking about?
I know that it's near Aiden's house.
Okay.
And wasn't there like a pond where they were trying to find her phone?
There's a pond in the area.
Okay. I think Aiden told me about the pond because he would go there and he told me he would smoke weed there.
Mm-hmm. Have you've never been there with Aiden to smoke weed?
No.
Okay. Did you ever smoke weed with Aiden?
Yes, I quit smoking. But yes, at
Okay.
some point I did.
Have you talked to Trey since this has been going on?
Yes, I have.
What's Trey told you?
Trey told me his side of the story. He told me that he was asleep at his house that night and that he doesn't know either. We're both just confused.
Okay. Did Trey tell you, did he say if he saw Aiden or Tristan that night?
Yeah, he said, okay, so this was his story. He said that Aiden came over from my house and they went like skateboarding for a little, or they were like practicing.
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Aiden came over from your house?
Yeah, Aiden was at my house, and then around 8 he left for Trey's house.
Okay.
My father has footage on the ring if you need to check that.
Yep.
But he went over to Trey's house, and then around like 10:30 I went skating, and I got home and he FaceTimed me and we talked for a little bit, and then he said that he had to go because Trey and him were gonna go skateboarding for a little, and that was the last conversation I had with him that night. But from Trey's point of view, this is what happened. They decided that they were gonna steal some of Trey's dad's CBD weed, and they were smoking on the side of the house, and Trey was like, do you want to invite Tristan over? And Aiden said, I don't care. And so Tristan came over, and Trey was smoking. They were, I guess, on the side of his house, and then he went back inside and he fell asleep. And then he woke up and he went back outside and he took another hit. And then he went back inside and fell asleep. Sorry if none of this makes sense.
No, it does.
And then he woke up and he said, I'm tired. I don't think you guys should be here anymore. Because Trey was grounded at this time and Aiden wasn't supposed to be over at his house. And so he told both of them to go home.
Okay.
And then he fell asleep.
So, just to clarify to me, where at Trey's house would they normally smoke?
Side of the house, I guess.
So, if you're looking at the front of the house,
Mm-hmm.
which side are we talking? The left side, the right side?
Okay, so there's like when you go to Trey's house, there's like a fence that'll be like by his house.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be like back there because Trey's room was like here, and then the like gate between the other house was like here, and they would kind of just smoke in between that area.
So that Trey's room would be on the left side of the house if I'm looking at the front.
Yes, I believe. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Later, police gained a search warrant for his home. When the police searched his bedroom, they found pieces of clothing with the girl's blood in them. And apart of that, they also found different satanic drawings in his room. Disturbing image of girls with X on their genitals. News of Tristan's death spread nationwide. People were talking on social media to express their regret. Shockingly, some people decided to take Aiden's side, saying that she deserved it and the people should free him. According to the interview of one police officer, his opinion was that the 14-year-old kid was nothing more or nothing less than a cold-blooded killer. Aiden stabbed Tristan Bailey 114 times, showing no mercy or remorse. Police said the only reason he stopped was because his knife broke off and was located by the medical examiner in the skull of the victim. 49 of the stabs wounds were defensive, meaning that they happened in the hands, arms, and legs, indicating that Tristan fought for her life until her last breath. After the discovery of the body, the boy's parents spoke with him in an interview room at the sheriff's station. Upon being told by his mother that Tristan was dead, he responded, "How is it my problem?" She told him he was the last person to be seen with the girl.
What's this place?
It's a holding room. It's a holding room. That's it. Have they asked any questions?
Well, they asked, like, what color's my hair and what color my eyes and all that. That's all I am. And then where you lived.
You know they found this girl, right?
Where?
In our neighborhood. Down our main street.
Is she good?
No,
No,
she's not.
she's dead. That's why this is very important. It's all on you right now.
That's my problem.
You were
You
the
were
last
the
one.
last one seen with her. So right now, it's facing you right now, son. So however you talk, you breathe, you think, then you respond.
This is very serious, Aiden. You can't act like I don't know. I don't know. You can't, and you can't.
You
say
understand this is serious? Clearly. You understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything you say will affect you.
That Snapchat that you did was not very smart.
Not good
either.
at all. Now we have people wanting to burn our house down, their cars down, because of that Snapchat thing you did. It's all over. You're all over the internet and everywhere. Social media.
It is on social media. You'll probably come stay with me after we get done with this, just for your well, safe being. You have no scream smith on you, right?
No, sir.
You sure don't smell?
I'm hungry. I don't sit.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to sit. I can hit her so badly. Did you tell me anything different in the cop car that we don't know about? No. Do you know if this girl got picked up?
I told him about her dealer.
You think she got picked up by him?
Probably. She said she wasn't coming home. She said she's gonna find somebody to stay at
After
her
you left her
house.
there walking? Like, you think she got picked up after that? She just kept walking?
Probably. I mean, I don't know.
Do you know if she turned the other direction or she was just still walking behind you?
She pushed her down and then you walked away. We shouldn't be talking.
I'm just asking what he told the cops. I was
understand.
just asking what he told them.
As you walked away, you came straight home. You didn't turn back around and see where she went? What were you doing outside that late at night?
I was at Trey's house hanging out with him.
Did you kiss or do anything with this girl?
Be honest as you can to them.
I kissed her.
Yes.
Yeah, I kissed her.
Anything further?
Mm-mm.
So your DNA's gonna be on her?
It's very
You saw
serious.
your shoes were off on the camera. Why were your shoes off?
Because my feet were hurting. And the shoes give me blisters.
Did you come home and then leave again?
Mm-mm.
Did you sneak back out, or you're still at Trey's house the whole day?
I was at Trey's house.
Okay. It's just the one night I didn't ask where you were, so I was wondering. This is serious, Aiden.
It's very serious.
This isn't no joke. This is your whole life. Your whole life.
And hers.
And ours. And your brothers and sister. And don't forget they can't go to school tomorrow.
Why?
Because the kids will hurt them. They're going to keep them here, right?
I don't know. They don't have no evidence that I know of yet. Unless you know any other thing I don't know. Did y'all have sex?
Mm-mm.
Did she really grab you and you just really pushed her, or was that?
No, she did.
Okay.
You don't know what happened to her after you pushed her?
Mm-mm.
Did she say ow or get mad?
And she said Aiden. She was like, Aiden. I think I pushed her, but I just told her to F off. And I just walked off.
Do you know what direction she walked it?
Probably the other way, because she wasn't next to me anymore.
You didn't look back or nothing?
Mm-mm.
Nothing to worry about, right?
Mm-mm.
They're searching our house right now.
Why were you down?
Hmm?
Were you what? You got home?
A little bit, yeah.
From what?
Water.
What water?
Water from a cup.
Her cup?
No, water from a cup. A drink.
You spilling yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Fell off my hand.
What a day. What a nightmare.
I just hope I keep waking up.
Me too. We're gonna go home and get your clothes.
What clothes?
The clothes you're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be nothing on those clothes, right?
Yes, sir.
You wore khakis or blue jeans?
Blue jeans.
You sure it's not on them?
I think so. What?
When we looked on the camera, you were wearing khakis. right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see this 20-year-old kid? You didn't get in his car?
Mm-hmm. I never even saw him before. I just heard about him.
That night?
Hmm?
You just heard about him that night?
Oh, no, I've heard about him many times.
Do you have the black car?
I don't know.
You're not scared?
Not really.
Not really?
I'm a little scared, but...
If he didn't do nothing, he had to be worried about.
I know, that's all I was asking.
He didn't do nothing right.
Yes, sir.
It's a hell of a bad time, bad spot. Leaving a 13-year-old girl by herself in the middle of the streets at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever time is not smart, bro. Walking home with her in the middle of the night, that wasn't smart either. You stay away from females. Anything could happen. Did you kiss her this night?
Mm-mm.
This last night?
Mm-hmm.
Or at Trey's house?
Mm-mm.
On the walk? I still see why you kissed her, and then all of a sudden she grabbed you and then you pushed her.
You better find your story and stay to it.
Yep. And I don't like all that switching back and forth stuff.
Think about every question he's going to ask you. Before you answer it, you think about the answer again. The next hour or two.
They're going to make it rough on him. Ask him the same question and make sure he gives them the same answer. They're going to badger you and badger you and badger you and badger you. Till your answer changes. Or even goes off a little bit. Hopefully you don't have to worry about your head.
What was your phone?
The officer.
Did you get your food at least?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what you get you, so I got you a baconator.
Yeah, that was good.
Did he ask you any questions inside the car?
Mm-hmm. Just about what I look like.
Did you tell Dylan to get Preston?
No, Jacob, and Jimmy went up there and got him and told him he brought him to his house until you get there.
Dave says it's going to take at least 72 hours to do the autopsy.
Let's see.
Did they ever say why it took you so long to get home?
Mm-hmm.
What?
They asked me why.
Well,
I just said I walked around.
By yourself?
Mm-hmm.
did you just walk really slow home?
His parents questioned him about his actions the previous night and asked him several times about what DNA or physical evidence might be turned up. Both advised him to find his story and stick to it. Just over 24 hours after the tragedy began to settle into the minds and hearts of the Durbin Crossing community, classmates, loved ones, and neighbors gathered to remember the life of Tristan Bailey in the candlelight vigil Monday night, among a sea of aqua t-shirts, ribbons, and other memorials. During a pre-trial conference via video from a room in the Duval County Jail, Pucci was heard talking about demons, saying, "Please, don't let the demons take my soul. The demons are going to take my soul away."
What you got going on? I don't like you demons. I don't like you demons take my soul. You demons want to take my soul away. I don't let you demons steal my soul. I don't know what's going on. What I see you. What's going on? What you got going on? Why am I here? I just want to talk to my mom and dad. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Alexis, Bailey's sister, took the stand in a courtroom and emotionally dropped 114 green heart-shaped stones into a small jar to represent the 114 stab wounds that my sister had to endure.
My name's Alexis Bailey. I'm Tristan's second oldest sister.
And just so the court's aware, if you would just tell the court the order of the siblings.
So my oldest sister is Brittany Bailey. Again, I'm Alexis Bailey. I'm the second oldest sister, followed by my brother Tegan Bailey, Sophia Bailey, and then Tristan was the youngest of the family.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
$114. This jar now holds 114 stones, one for each of the 114 stab wounds that my sister had to endure. It was 1 hour and 42 minutes between when my sister was last seen and when Aiden Fucci was next seen, running out of the woods holding his shoes because his feet hurt. It's funny that such a simple statement can bring such anger. Aiden Fucci could show compassion for his sore feet, yet had nothing to leave for my beautiful sister. The number of questions I have for Aiden Fucci surrounding that night plague my mind. Did she see you coming at her with the knife, or did you stab her while she wasn't paying attention? Did she scream out for help, or was she paralyzed with agony? Did she cry for my mother? Did she beg you to stop? Did you hear her lungs gargling with blood? Or did you see it in her face when she realized she could no longer breathe due to her collapsed lungs? What were her last words? Did you stay to watch her die? Or did you leave her there in agonizing pain as you ran away? How long did she suffer? Did you watch the life leave her eyes? Do you know the answer to any of these questions, or were you too caught up in the thrill of the kill? The last time I heard my sister's voice was May 8th, 2021. I have racked my brains trying to remember the last words she said to me. Was it I love you? Was it goodbye? Or did we say nothing at all? What I do remember is her walking out that door. I have nightmares about that moment. In my dreams, I try to reach out and grab her, beg her to spend the night, anything to prevent what happened just hours later, yet every time the door closes before I can get to her. The memories of May 9th will forever be ingrained in my mind, body, and soul. To know I was awake and only 11 minutes away from my sister as she was being brutally murdered. Could I have saved her? I remember the vivid feelings of my body collapsing on the ground as the police informed us that they had found a body. Then, finding out hours later it was Tristan's body, I remember becoming physically ill and having a detective grip my hair as my body uncontrollably expelled everything from my stomach between my sobs. The pain I felt in every nerve as I watched my dad lying on the floor, screaming in a way no human should ever be able to produce. Our family broke that day, and I don't recognize any of us anymore. I have watched my parents going from believing that they were good parents to believing they were failures. I have listened to my parents question, what did we do wrong? What kind of mother or father was I not to protect my child? I have watched them overanalyze every conversation, every action, trying to figure out what they could have done differently. I've watched my older sister, Brittany, become unrecognizable with anger. I've watched my brother, Tegan, emotionally shut down and avoid the family due to the pain being home causes. I've watched my younger sister, Sophia, completely lose her childhood and be cast into the role of being a parent and being the resident therapist for my mother. I've seen the changes in myself, the responsibilities and burden that I have had to undertake because of the actions of Aiden Fucci. I am the one who had the responsibility of speaking with the funeral home and forcing my parents to decide which urn to put what remained of Tristan in. I was the one who had to pick her up from the funeral home and make that long drive home with her ashes. I have what remains of her beautiful blonde hair, now stained red, sitting in my house, haunting me daily. I have had to become the safe place for my parents and hold space for their feelings. I have had to commit every detail of Tristan's murder to memory so that whenever someone has a question, they need only ask and not be burdened with looking up the answers themselves through the hundreds of pages of court documents and police records. I bear the thoughts that one day the trauma we have all been through because of the actions of Aiden Fucci will cost the lives of my other family members. I have been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder. I have been unable to work at times during this process due to the trauma and PTSD attacks triggered by knives, blood, and open wounds. My relationships have suffered. My physical and mental health has diminished, and my goals for the future have seemingly disappeared. Aiden Fucci didn't just take Tristan's life that day. He took everything from us. Our family, sense of security, laughs, health, and potential. For us, justice does not exist in this case, and closure does not exist in this case. Peace, understanding, and forgiveness will never come. The duty of this court today is to determine and weigh all the factors in this case, to decide the just sentence for the crimes Aiden Fucci committed, with retribution and potential rehabilitation sadly being considered. The only justifiable sentence in this case is a full life sentence. Anything short of that would be an insult to not only our justice system and community, but to our family and Tristan's legacy. Lastly, I would like to add my own stone to the 114 that I added for Tristan. This white stone represents my trust in people, which died the day that Aiden Fucci chose to kill my sister. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alexis. State would call Tegan Bailey.
The late girl's brother, Tegan, said his sister had a personality brighter than fireworks, and he wonders every day if he could have done something.
Your Honor, on Saturday, May 8th, 2021, I came home to spend time with family and to celebrate Mother's Day the following day. When I arrived home that afternoon, we quickly made plans to go to dinner. My dad, mom, Sophia, Tristan, my niece, and I went to dinner. There wasn't a single sign that this would be our last night together, and what I believe was Tristan's last meal. Shy of my older sisters Brittany and Alexis being present, the dinner was perfect. My niece was playing with her food, trying to crawl under the table. We talked about when we lived in Singapore. My dad supplied ample comedy and smiles in a way that only siblings can. Tristan and I silently made a pact and messed with Sophia during dinner, the way only siblings know how to do. It was perfectly imperfect. I would give anything to either stay at the table a few minutes longer or to have had Brittany and Alexis there as well. Following dinner, we visited Alexis and then went home. I went on a late walk with Sophia to reach my exercise goal for the day, which I talked with Tristan about when we got back. Finally, Sophia, Tristan, and I started to watch TV. I began to fall asleep on the couch until I finally excused myself to go to bed. Every single day, I can't help but wonder what would have happened had I slept on that couch instead, or if I had stayed up later. Tristan was a 13-year-old. She had a personality brighter than fireworks, and she was being a teenager. But had I slept on that couch that was within earshot of our front door, there's a possibility my little sister could still be alive today. I have lived with that question, that weight, and that guilt since I went to wake up Tristan on Mother's Day and found her room empty. The day we lost Tristan, I began running mentally and emotionally to try to cope and survive. Anytime I slow down, every detail of that day, this court process, and the memories of Tristan flood my mind and threaten to cripple me. So mentally, I put this all into a box and I run from it. I will run to school, to work, to friends, and at times I ran to alcohol. I was desperate for anything that would numb and convince me that this is not real life, rather a sick and cruel nightmare I can't seem to wake up from. This is real though. My baby sister, who always had a sassy reply ready and a heart filled with kindness, is gone. The depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder is real. The weekly therapy sessions to learn how to cope and make it this far is real. The waves of anxiety I experience when I walk around Durban Crossing at night are real. Every time I see or use a knife, the intrusive thoughts of the damage that they can inflict is real. The nights where sleep is replaced with the heinous details of what Tristan suffered are real. The nights where I drank to black out and put myself in danger are real. The week-long depressive episodes where I break down and struggle to leave my bed are real. The classes I withdrew from because grieving and being a student was too much are real. The breakdowns that erupt from songs that remind me of Tristan are real. Even things as small as a red cardinal bird will bring my day to a stop. There's an old wives' tale that when you see a red cardinal, it is someone from heaven checking on you. I can only hope that each one is a sign from Tristan telling me she's still cheering me on. Yet they are each a painful reminder of what I have lost. They are each a reminder of how I failed Tristan. Despite countless reassurances, I continually weather by sleeping on that couch, being at home more, reaching out more, or a million other things if I may have been able to prevent her death. But no matter how much I may try to run, distract, or numb myself, this is my reality. Reality where Aqua and Teal fill me with pride, love, and pain. Reality where I am terrified and furious at other teenage boys because a single 14-year-old broke my family. Reality where instead of a cheer trophy, a family portrait, or a million other things, my sister's remains sit on a shelf at home in an aqua urn that glimmers brighter than a star. A reality that is so painful to live in, I continue to run and numb myself to it, trying to escape the pain and reminders of what I have lost. In the process of trying to numb myself and outrun this, I cause myself to lose even more. By not handling my grief head on, academically, I sacrificed a multitude of opportunities within my courses and with professors. Socially, I was alone. While I have an astounding support system where I live in Gainesville, Tristan's story and her spirit are not as well known there as they are in St. John's. Few are able to understand the hardship of losing a family member, much less losing them to a gruesome homicide. I felt that I became a burden and disconnected from a multitude of people that I once treasured. Despite the fact that these were the very people trying to support me, emotionally, I shut down every time I was asked, "How are you doing?" As there are no words to convey the misery that was born from my grief and my sense of isolation. I would like to address Mr. Aiden Fucci. Today, I want to take the time to address whatever humanity you still possess. Since learning of your existence and the agony inflicted upon my family, I convinced myself you are something other than human. I refuse to use your name, to believe that you are a regular person. To believe that you were human would be to accept that the darkness that has marked my family could come from ordinary people, something which causes me to lose all hope. So I convince myself you must be something less than human, and that people can still be good. But you are human. Between investigative evidence and individuals in the St. John's community, my family and I have learned more about your life than we ever cared to know. Part of this included learning that you have siblings and a younger sister at that. I'm sorry, I lost my place. I have 4 sisters, 2 older and 2 younger sisters, including Tristan. While you may have siblings, I don't believe you know what it means to be a brother. Having siblings is a job, a responsibility, and a privilege. Being a brother to sisters means being there to support them, to listen, to celebrate them, and to be there for them when they are in need, and so much more. You took one of my sisters away from me. I will not get to drive her to cheer, listen to her spill the tea, celebrate her achievements, or spoil her with trips to Starbucks for a double chocolate chip grande frappuccino. If I ever have children, none of them will ever get to meet their aunt. I will never get to brag to others about Tristan's determination and her persistence in pursuing her goals. Because when Tristan had a goal, she accomplished her goal. Because of your actions, I cannot fulfill my role as Tristan's big brother. While I am so fortunate to be blessed with 3 other amazing and unique sisters who inspire me and remind me of what life has to offer, you took away my baby sister. I want you to think of your own siblings, your own sister. Just as I have lost my sister, they have lost their brother. At the end of this, you will be in prison. They will not get to lean on you for support. You won't be able to celebrate with them or grow old with them. They have lost their brother. You have lost your siblings. You have failed as a brother. My siblings and I didn't just lose a sister. My parents lost a daughter. Tristan's friends lost a goofball who brought a smile by walking into the room. The cheer community lost a teammate who was an unwavering pillar of spirit and perseverance. The world lost a young woman who, after binge watching Grey's Anatomy, became inspired to become a doctor. We lost the chance to see Tristan graduate high school. We lost the chance to see Tristan attend and graduate college. We lost the chance to see Tristan find love and have her own family. Not only do we have to grieve Tristan and her past, we have to grieve the person she did not have a chance to become and everything she never got to do or achieve. Since losing Tristan, I've heard through countless conversations what can happen to her murderer. This court is able to impose between a 40-year sentence up to a life sentence. Several weeks ago, we sat in this building as the court reviewed a motion to limit autopsy photos to be shown during the trial, a trial which we fortunately did not have to go through. Among several things that came out during that hearing, I recall that there were 6 wounds that had been considered fatal. However, even in shy of these 6 wounds that my sister suffered, no one would have been able to survive the cumulative 108 other wounds. My sister was stabbed 114 times. 49 of those wounds were defensive. While some may view these as simple facts of the case, these are the thoughts that will plague the mind of Tristan's community, friends, family, and myself for the rest of our lives. Tristan's fought for her life, and my mind has tormented me since with all of the details of what she went through and what she must have felt. This is a burden we collectively have to carry for decades to come. In light of this, a life sentence for her murderer seems nearly merciful. His wrongdoings reaped not only the remainder of Tristan's life, but cursed the lives of countless others. Why should he be allowed to serve a single sentence while so many others must serve our own sentences because of their choices? If it were possible, I would plead the court to give a harsher sentence than life. But in the light of the current state of the law, I can only hope that he will be given the maximum sentence. I add this stone for the hope and belief I had in people being good that died the day that Aiden Fucci murdered my sister.
Your Honor, my name is Brittany Bailey Russell, and I am Tristan's oldest sibling. When I was told we had the opportunity to write an impact statement, I immediately got to work. Writing comes natural to me, but I knew the importance the statement would hold, and I knew I needed more time than any piece I had written in the past. For months, I have attempted to put pen to paper to express the magnitude of this catastrophe we face every second of every day. Yet every time I met with complete writer's block. Not the kind of writer's block where you have nothing to say, but the kind of writer's block where you cannot find words impactful enough to describe the devastation this has caused on my family. Your Honor, I could stand up here today and tell you what little I can remember from May 9th, 2021, how I was on day 1 of my honeymoon with my husband and woke up to an alarming call from my sister Alexis saying, "Brace yourself. We can't find Tristan. We're about to post it on social media." I could express the sense of darkness and terror I felt just being over 1,900 miles away from my panic-struck family, feeling absolutely helpless that I could not search, comfort, or engage with my squad, as Tristan would put it. I could even go into great detail about the blood-curdling and excruciating screams that ejected from my dad's lungs, the bottom of his lungs, while my husband and I sat on the other end of that FaceTime call, crumbling to the MGM hotel room floor, sobbing our eyes out, praying to God the news of where Tristan wasn't our biggest fear. And if the court really wants to hear the most graphic of it all, I could tell you about the days to follow when I heard the fatal wail that bursted from my mom in the other room when Detective Hannon delivered the news to just my parents on how Tristan died that Mother's Day. I wasn't even privy to the no at that point, but the crippling sound that my mom let out, I knew it was something unimaginable. I remember this torturous feeling that took over my body as I ran to the bathroom, slamming the door, banging both hands on the wall, screaming, "Why? How? How is this happening?" I didn't stop until my dad ran in, grabbed me, hugged me, and kept telling me, "Be brave for your mom. Do it for your mom." As later we learned, that friend Tristan thought she had ambushed our youngest Bailey by stabbing her 114 times, over and over and over, to the point where we all know, she fought her fight and had nothing left in her body to give. And yet he continued, like an absolute coward. You, Aiden Fucci, decided to overpower a 5'3" innocent 13-year-old girl. How much more of a coward could you possibly be? Those feelings that took over my body that day, I could go my whole life without feeling again. I can promise you one thing, I do not ever want to be that brave in my lifetime yet. Here I am, standing in front of this courtroom, exposing my vulnerability, peeling back layers of my PTSD in this unsafe and very overwhelming environment. While I sit here publicly reliving tad bits of our worst nightmare, I recognize that none of these horrific memories will bring Tristan back. It truly just pains me more to have to relive them, to talk about it, to feel those feelings all over again like it happened yesterday. What I can confidently express to the court is, since my sister's murder, I agonize at the thought of leaving Florida for travel, something that was once engraved in my DNA. I lack prioritizing my husband, and I carelessly watch my marriage crumble before my eyes. I now carry emergency medication to control the unexpected tightening of the chest and inability to breathe, something doctors call post-traumatic stress disorder. I spend 2 hours every Sunday morning with our family therapist, a day that used to be Bailey Family Fun Day on Sunday. I struggle with mental health expenses and impulse buying in hopes to find control, something my husband and I were not financially prepared for. I've lost clients due to the inability to work. I rely on my vehicle as a safe place to release the uncontrollable rage that takes over my body. I fight my emotions in my own household in hopes my 4-year-old daughter doesn't try to console me, her mother, something no toddler should ever feel compelled to do. I find my husband more times than not peeling me up off our closet floor, drenched in my own tears. I've lost count of how many glasses I've shattered over the anger that's unbearable. I look at myself in the mirror and I don't recognize the person I am anymore. My weight, my happiness, my skin, my personality, my love for life, all gone. My sister was robbed of what could have been an incredible future. Imagine growing up in a household of 7, traveling the world for my dad's job, relying on each other as best friends because we only had each other during all of those moves, meeting friends who became family across the globe, and having the most loving and supporting parents you could ever ask for. Just for perspective, I'm a hairstylist, and my parents opened a salon in St. Johns County. Alexis has a passion for animals, and my parents openly allowed her zoo to live under their roof. Tegan's draw to coffee and books at University of Florida enticed him to continue on to grad school, which my parents could not be more proud of. Sophia, our lacrosse all-star, was just accepted to Colorado Mesa University to play goalie, and once again, my parents could not be more on board, even though this means there are 2 flights between their child and them. And as for Tristan, cheerleading was her life, and because it was her life, it was my mom's life too. My parents have sacrificed their needs and wants for their children for 30 years. I've never met such selfless people. And to think one of the 5 of us won't get to see that fully through, Your Honor, I can't put a word to it. Agony isn't painful enough. Shattered to the core doesn't crumble like how I feel. Infuriated doesn't even come close to touching the amount of rage I find myself trapped in. And let me tell you, justice is just a word for comfort. It doesn't bring her back. It doesn't allow her to see if she would have made worlds or become a college cheerleader. It does nothing but put this inhumane, cold-blooded killer away for good. I ask you to remember how much my sister lost and will continue to lose as the years pass by because of one vile decision this ruthless, unremorseful villain made. His apology was a waste of oxygen and meant nothing. It was cold, it was callous, and it was disheartening, and it left my family feeling absolutely tormented. Once again, a word not pungent enough to express the degree of what we felt, but it's the best the dictionary could offer. In Tristan's name, I will fight till the end to make sure my children, my siblings, my family, and our community will never see Aiden Fucci in society again. I respectfully ask for you to do the same. This white stone represents my loss and faith in our school systems to keep violent children away from the innocent. We are forever Tristan Bailey strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany.
And thank you for the chance to do so. You know, it's every day. I was out walking the dog this morning, and neighbor driving out of the neighborhood stopped and let me know that they were praying for us, and that's the type of community we live in St. John's. You know, I think it was immediate, as was shared. You know, we put out the notice. It was on social media, and I mean, Mother's Day, there were families all over the place that dropped all of their plans, and they went out and they were looking. You know, and you heard in some of the statements, immediately after that week, there was a huge vigil in Durbin Crossing the next day. The cheer gyms that she had participated in held vigils. There was a vigil, you know, a year after. A number of different sports programs have actually created awards to recognize the type of teammate that she was. You know, the businesses in the area have been phenomenal. They've, you know, provided my family with a safe place to go after we had funerals, the celebration of life. And the way that Celebration Church gave us that, and even local media in the way that they streamed it, because there were so many people that wanted to go, and giving space for really the teammates and the community to be there. So, those things have happened, and those are the big events. I think the smaller things are the day-to-day. There's a lot of people that still have bows on their homes to represent their support silently. We have people that have, painted rocks, put rocks all over the world. There's just so much really good things that the community has done to keep her name and to make sure she's not forgotten.
I appreciate that. You have a letter today as well?
I actually have two. The first is, to Mr. Fucci. February 6th, you finally admitted to your guilt in murdering my daughter, Tristan. After you clearly sat in this room and agreed to all of the questions and statements that were read by the judge and admitted that you knew what you were pleading to, at the end of that, you turned around, or you didn't even turn around, you made an apology. I want to be clear, saying that your insincere apology is not accepted. In no part did I sense any glimmer of any true remorse felt in your apology. Without question, I know that statement was for some self-serving purpose that you have. During all of the proceedings in which we've been present, including these past couple days, at no point in time have I seen anything from you that is any type of remorse. I loathe your very existence and know that there is nothing within you that reflects the smallest amount of goodness or human decency. Your Honor, Judge Smith, I know there's a lot of us, and I know you've had to listen to quite a bit. Foremost, I would like to appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to let us all speak, as well as the time that you're taking in reviewing the statements. The other thing is, I understand that defendants have a right to waive a speedy trial, but I appreciate the fact that you've tried to keep this trial moving, because this is a necessary step for us to get through so that we can move on as a family as well. I like to think that for each of us that have presented or submitted impact statements to you, that's going to give us strength in the days to come as we continue to deal with the loss. I think that you've also heard many different aspects of Tristan when she was 13. Hearing from Bree yesterday, you recognize hopefully the type of teammate and the impact that she had and what she did with others. I'm sure that from Susan's comments, you can tell that she was the type of classmate and had an impact and, help people that needed that help. And those difficult middle school hallways was a smiling and welcoming face. What likely resounded with you even more were the impacts from Tristan's friends, both the adults and her contemporaries. She was an incredible person who was comfortable in her own skin and helped people find comfort within their own. The world is in short supply of people like that, and Tristan was needed. I want to step back and talk to you from the family's perspective once again. A little background on me: I am very proud to be the son of Glenn and Lorraine Bailey. My aunts and uncles and cousins created such an incredible experience in my growing up. My dad was the fifth of 8 children, and seeing the dynamic they had, I knew that was something I hoped for in my life, a large family. When Stacy and I met, she likely had no idea what she was getting into as an only child, yet no one could have been better as the role model of being a phenomenal mother to a large family. We were sure to tell each of our kids that a sibling can be a gift like none other. The relationship is so incredibly unique. I am so blessed to have children that treasure one another as well as mine do. I know you heard this from each of them that spoke today. Yet my daughter Sophia was not ready to do so, which I completely understand. It is an impossible task to ask her to summarize the loss of her sister. They had the most unique relationship. While so much has been shared on how Tristan encouraged others, Sophia likely was Tristan's biggest supporter and fueled her confidence. Sophia was always looking and taking care of Tristan. Sophia's biggest impact of losing Tristan will lie in the days and years to come. Sadly, I know the tremendous loss that they will have to bear in losing a sibling, as I lost my brother January 13th, 2001. He is with me constantly, and the regret and unfulfilled plans we had together. Since Tristan was taken with us, I have not been able to look in on my parents as I should, just as it haunts me what my children are going to endure with the loss of their sister. So often our calls with my parents end with them trying to figure out any way that they can help, anything that they can do, yet they know that from the loss of my brother, I will carry Tristan's loss with me always. Within our family, Stacy does an impeccable job of dealing with the critical items that come in on the day-to-day. Oftentimes I'm brought in to deal with some of the bigger problems and find our path forward. I've always been able to fulfill that role until now. There are no solutions. There's just trying to move forward and carry her with us. During so many hard times, the advice to just breathe or realize that this too shall pass is appropriate. This will not pass. I can't even answer with certainty on how we'll continue to handle all the counseling and related bills that are some of the concerns, as we've had well in excess of $36,000 just in counseling related bills. You heard from one of her friends who keeps texting her cell phone. We still pay her cell phone every month because she has a lot of friends that are still sending messages to her. Throughout our married life, I've been able to look Stacy in the eye and assure her through any difficult time that everything will be all right, and it has. With respect to Tristan, I can't do that. It is all well known within my family that Stacy loves the early years with the kids. For me, it's always been that the older they get, the more they come to me. Yes, I love teenagers. Tristan and I would have some of the best conversations on the ride home from practice. Her view of the world was fascinating. She had such a keen focus on seeing the best within people. She also appreciated the importance of everything you have to invest on the path to your goals. You see, it wasn't just about the competitions. She loved practice. While she talked of being a doctor, the concepts she was learning were more important in our talks than the grades. The continued expansion of our relationship with our time together has been obliterated. Stacy and I feel directionless. We are so far behind on so many things in life, from the trivial to the important. Even our life path, such as when I will retire, is in complete disarray when the baby is taken from the family. I always figured when she graduated from college, Stacy and I could enjoy travels and looking in on our family wherever life took them. Now I just don't know. Just don't know about so many things. I've lost my sense of self. A good friend of mine who lost their son described feeling like a zombie. It is a description that has stuck with me, as that is what I feel like. Going through the motions, hoping that you get everything right. Even when you get assurances that you are, you just doubt it. Despite what anyone says, when you lose a child, your life becomes ongoing questions of doubt. The grief will not go away. Tristan's birthday every January 18th is going to hurt. Every Mother's Day, that sacred family day, will have its painful moments. Every May 9th will hurt to remember what happened to our Tristan. The anniversary dates are always difficult. As you know from the way too many parents that you've spoke to in your courtroom, the pain and triggers happen every day. Every day upon waking up is a cruel reminder that she is gone. Within our family, we had our tradition of Bailey Family Fun Day. No event in the world, it was as dear to me as our family dinners, and everyone would make it there on Sunday. Every Sunday is filled with hurt as the day she was ripped from us. It hurts us to the core to sit in my chair at the head of the table and have our baby not in her chair, but in an urn sitting on a shelf in front of me. My dreams of enjoying the big family reunion similar to those I grew up with have been stolen from us. As I said before, every family holiday we know, Tristan should be there with us. Everything has that cast of what if over it. I am so proud of the resiliency and strength that my children have had since that day. Each of them have managed to have incredible accomplishments while going through this grieving process. It's difficult because it hurts to feel good without her here. And they have just been so incredible in continuing to move forward and carrying her with them. It's emotionally exhaustive to not allow the grief to overcome the positive. Your Honor, I'm hoping that you can see that he impacted all 7 of us for life. I would also remind you of the testimony from the medical examiner that he essentially killed Tristan 7 times. 6 stabs that in and of themselves were lethal. The other 108 cumulative would have been lethal. From what Alexis and Stacy shared, you can only begin to imagine how the pain he put her through stays with us. Your Honor, we cannot turn back the hands of time so that we can have a different outcome. We cannot bring my Tristan back. We cannot even be certain that the sentence you give on Friday will not be impacted as part of the 25-year review process. Yet you can deliver justice for our community. He took Tristan's life. He impacted all Tristan's family for life. You've heard how he shattered the innocence of childhood so many in our wonderful community for their life and the lives of their children. He even damaged the sanctity of Mother's Day for so many for their lives. Please, Your Honor, take this into consideration when you have to make your decision. Lastly, I want to place this rock. And this rock represents the loss to our family and the world for all of the good Tristan would have done. Thank you for your time.
Bailey's mother, Stacy, said Aiden Fucci made a heinous decision on May 9, 2021 and took the very life that I brought into this world. Please do not for 1 second think that he could be rehabilitated at any point. He is beyond saving.
Your Honor, I am Stacy Bailey. I am Tristan Tyne Bailey's mother, or as her friends called her, T. Not many know what Forrest and I faced during our pregnancy with Tristan. We were moving to another country, Singapore, when I found out I was expecting another child. To say the least, it was a surprise as we thought we were done after having 4 children. I was terrified to be pregnant in a foreign country, but soon found myself with amazing medical care. I was put into a high-risk category, and I had a high-risk doctor because we were told that Tristan potentially had Down syndrome. And then it got worse from there as they found a spot or potentially a hole in her heart. We faced every day wondering if she would be okay. The fear was constant, which was incredibly difficult on my family. We prayed every day that she would be okay. But never once did we ever question that she was wanted and loved no matter what. Our prayers were answered when she came into this world with no signs of a spot on her heart, and she did not have Down syndrome. In time, we learned that Tristan's heart was stronger than most, and it would be a gift that she would share with the world. We soon learned that she was a child that needed to be front and center from day one. Tristan Tyne she was incredibly loud from the get-go. She never really cried. It was more like a scream, ear-piercing at times. Growing up in Singapore for the first 4 years of her life was amazing. Her siblings and her had an incredibly close bond. But she had a bond with me that was unbreakable. Forrest used to say, "Nobody else seems to matter except for you, Stacy." She was always a very social child, always striving to do the best in every aspect of her life. She joined the cheer world at a very young age and pushed herself to be the best that she could be while always encouraging others. At school, she had excellent grades and had many friends. One of the things that stood out to me the most was how she fiercely protected others from being bullied. Tristan truly had a heart of gold. For me, I have always loved being a mother and vowed endlessly to love, teach, and protect my children. I spent so many weeks traveling with Tristan for cheer over the years. I was lucky enough to have a lot of one-on-one time with her. During these times, we would have conversations about friends, school, the good, the bad. I will never forget conversations about one boy in particular who was always getting in trouble in her class for years. I always ended the conversation with, "Just be kind to him. He probably needs friends. He probably doesn't have many." Little did I know that she did that over the years. At Tristan's celebration of life, a boy waited in a long line of people to speak with me. To be honest with you, he's the only thing I really remember from that day. Everything else are just brief flashes of memories. He waited for so long to speak with me, and the tears poured out of his face. His words still resonate with me to today. He said, "She was my best friend. She was my only friend." I spent more than a month trying to figure out who this boy was. It turned out to be the same boy that we had talked about so often. At that moment, I knew just how extra special my daughter was and how she truly learned a valuable lesson of just be kind. I will treasure these moments and lessons taught for the rest of my life. I, however, failed in one lesson. I did not know that I needed to teach Tristan to be afraid of the evil in her own school, to be cautious and fearful of the people you think are your friends. Aiden Fucci, you betrayed us all. I have seen the traumatic impact of Aiden's horrific actions and how they have affected all that knew and loved Tristan. I have watched her friends become afraid to go to school and fearful of who they could and could not trust. I have watched the depression, the PTSD, the anxiety take over so many. Worse than anything, some of these feelings go so deep that several kids have tried to take their own lives from this incident. I carry the weight of this on my shoulders every single day. The guilt eats away at me. While I know it is not my weight to bear, it doesn't change the fact that I feel this. I feel that I have to protect and be there for each of her friends to let them know how much they mean to me. Aiden Fucci has destroyed so many lives by his vicious choice to take my child's life. I want to bring you to the weekend of Mother's Day, May 9th, 2021. It was Friday night, and we were preparing for an event at our business. Tristan came to me asking me if she could go to Food Truck Friday because all of her friends were going from school. I immediately said no because of our work event, and I could not go with her. You see, she had only gone one other time, and I was not willing to let her go without supervision. She begged to go with one of her friends that I had not met, but said that I could meet her parents as they would be watching over her. I agreed that if I met the parents and felt comfortable, I would consider letting her go. I drove to her friend's house, I met the mom, and we agreed that the girls could go as the dad would be taking them and bringing Tristan home too. It was reassuring to meet another family who had the same parenting style as us. This night is where the weekend starts to crumble in hindsight. You see, Your Honor, many kids that night planned to sneak out, not thinking anything could go wrong. They just thought they were going to be having fun and hanging out together. Saturday night arrives. It was just a normal day around our house. I can remember Sophia and Tristan planning what they were going to be making me for a surprise breakfast that next day, Mother's Day. They asked me to stay in my room until it was ready. Later that day, we went to dinner, and then we went to see our daughter Alexis and her new litter of Sphinx kittens. We didn't stay long because we were all tired. How I wish I had never gone to bed and stayed up longer. The next morning, Sophia prepared breakfast by herself, as Tristan never came down to help. Needless to say, my Mother's Day morning was soon filled with panic as my son informed us that Tristan was not in her room as he went to tell her it was time for breakfast. I thought to myself, this can't be. She must be in the bathroom or her sister's room. I immediately ran upstairs to indeed find she was gone. We all frantically were yelling for her and running through the house with no reply from our precious daughter. Forrest yelled for me to call the police, and this is where our nightmare went into full force. My heart was pounding with every second that passed, pleading with the police to help me. We soon found ourselves calling our friends on the phone, using social media, and yelling in the streets for anyone to help us. How could this be? This crazy thing of social media is there is always a trail, and we knew within an hour who Tristan was last with. I thank God for that trail, even though I find some of social media to be the bane of my existence. The minutes turned into hours of not knowing where our daughter was. I called her phone, as so many did, for it just to go to voicemail. Everything that happened that day is a blur. I do know that there were so many people trying to help find our daughter. Our community was there for us and completely put their Mother's Day plans aside. At some point around 2 o'clock in the afternoon is when my mother saw a dragonfly. And she said to me, "Stacy, look, it's good luck. They're gonna find her." Unfortunately, I shoved my mother as hard as I could and started yelling at her. Because in that moment, I knew my child was not coming home. I tried desperately to apologize for pushing her, but it was such an uncontrollable moment. You see, when my father passed away, I was surrounded by dragonflies, and it has soon become a symbol of my guardian angel. 4 more agonizing hours passed before I found myself sitting in our home with family and several detectives. We waited for the news that we could have never been prepared for, pleading to God to not let this happen to my family and to not take our baby girl away from us. I cannot tell you all the details of what happened when we went inside, as my brain has hidden them in my memory somewhere deep inside. I have very few memories of that day. Your Honor, what I'd like to do is share one night from a recent journal of mine this past month. It's 1:05 a.m. My eyes pop open in fear, and I try to orient myself as to where I am or if I am safe. I walk myself from the couch to my bedroom and try to get some more sleep. It's 2:05 a.m., again startled awake. It's 3 a.m. I'm startled awake again, as I am every night, multiple times a night. My head is pounding in pain. My thoughts are racing. My anxiety is high. My chest is tight. The thoughts immediately start. The time tells me that it's over. Tristan lost her life by now. Visions flood my head, how terrified she must have been. What went wrong in that moment of betrayal from someone she thought was her friend? Did she know it was coming? Did you wait for her back to be turned? The first strike of the knife, the fearful shock she must have had. The second strike, what is happening? I can only imagine she tries desperately to fight him off. Why is this happening? He continues to strike over and over and over as she continues to fight. My chest pain grows tighter, and the tears are now flowing. Was she screaming for help? Did she try to reach for her phone to call for help? Tristan's desperation to live and get away from him continues until he overpowers my child. He continues stabbing her even when there is no fight left. These visions are embedded in my mind. Her beautiful blonde hair, her smile, her irresistible laughter have all been snuffed out. The guilt I have that I was not there to protect Tristan plagues me. My thoughts continue and I cannot get it out of my head about the pain Tristan felt. I think about how one small slip of a knife I cut my finger while cutting fruit, and it hurt so much that I almost fainted. I pray she passed out. But honestly, with the amount of defense wounds, I know she did not. She fought, and our beautiful daughter suffered for so long as he took no mercy in the 114 times you stabbed her. My heart is pounding so hard now, I think it could come out of my chest. Oh my God, please tell me this is a bad dream. Tell me that I will wake up from this horrific nightmare. The pins and needles have started in my head. The trauma migraine is here. They always come. I beg and plead with myself to just stop thinking for 5 minutes so that the pain goes away. It only increases until sharp stabbing pains take over my head, which can bring me to my knees and screaming in pain. This is my new normal, every day, all day. My new life, sentenced to the torture of my child being murdered. Please stop thinking, just go to bed, just for a few moments to relieve the pain. It's now 3:46. I try to close my eyes, but it only lasts for a brief moment as the fear is overwhelming. The darkness scares me. What is waiting to harm me out there? Will I ever have peace? No. How can I without Tristan? It's 4:15 a.m. Sirens are going off that send me running to the living room only to find out it was on the TV. The panic is now starting to elevate to the point I can't control my anxiety. Images race through my mind of the helicopters, the police sirens, the bloodhounds, and worst of all, the police asking me to come in my house. I remember falling to my knees, begging them not to make me go inside. I knew that meant she was never coming home at that horrific moment. The darkness of the night surrounds me, and I live in constant fear of what might harm the rest of my family. A memory flashes and enters my mind as Detective Hannah knocked on my door at 3:40 in the morning that night to let us know that an arrest had been made. God, please make this stop. Wake me up from this nightmare. I want to run and find Tristan, but then I am met with the reality she is gone. Am I losing my mind? This cannot be real. I question God. Why, oh why, did you not protect her? How could you let evil touch her? Why, God, why? This is my sleep pattern every single night for 97 weeks. Sleep deprivation at its finest. The sleep deprivation is taking a toll on me mentally and physically. I do not recognize the person looking at me in the mirror. How I wish it was someone else. The sleepless nights bring black circles under my eyes, and the swelling from the constant tear and the stress have aged me beyond my years. I have memory loss, and I live in constant brain fog. Trying to put complete thoughts together can be very challenging. I now suffer from pins and needles in my head many times a day, along with chronic migraines. My hair is breaking and falling out due to all of the stress and anxiety. The PTSD from Mother's Day has had many impacts. I run into my house at the first sign of a helicopter or sirens, and I now have a genuine fear of being outside in the dark. I check my children's location multiple times a day just to know that they are where they are in case something happens to them. Seeing police cars can send me into a panic, thinking that something is terribly wrong. The depression can be debilitating at times, and I feel like my life has spun out of control. My home, which was once where we all gathered in comfort, is now a place of hurt that Tristan is no longer there. The door to her room remains closed. It is exactly as she left it. Her bed is unmade. Her bath towel she used on May 8th is at the foot of her bed. The suitcase is still packed from the weekend before when we attended Summit with Infinity All-Star Cheer. I can't bear to change one thing, not even washing her clothes in the hamper, as it would wash away the scent of her. Many times I find our cat, who knows how to open Tristan's door, in her room as if she's just waiting for her to return. I do not know if we will ever have comfort in our home again. My children were once full of life and laughter, and now they are full of despair, anger, depression, PTSD, and anxiety. Bailey Family Fun Day was every Sunday in our home, a day where we would all come together and have a meal and spend time together. Sunday will never be the same for us as we have a missing link in our family. The Sunday of May 9th, 2021 has made us dread every Sunday. How will it ever be whole again? Aiden Fucci, you have destroyed me. You have destroyed my family. You have destroyed Tristan's friends. You have destroyed the community that we live in. You have caused a divide amongst friends and neighbors that should have never been. You have taken away my baby girl, my past, my present, my future, by your calculated, vile actions. I will never be able to watch her perform on stage with her cheer team. I will never see her win Summit or Worlds. I will never have our special weekends away, just the two of us. She will not be able to graduate high school or college. And her father will never be able to walk her down the aisle at her wedding. You have taken this all away from us. I will never understand the heinous choice you made that day or why my kind daughter was the one that you chose. I will spend the rest of my life grieving our beautiful daughter, longing to hear her voice and hold her in my arms. Aiden Fucci, your deplorable actions are unforgivable, and I will pray every day that you stay in prison for the rest of your life and never be able to harm anyone else in this world again. Your Honor, I plead with you. Please consider everything that he has done to our daughter and to our family. Aiden Fucci made a heinous decision on May 9th, 2021, and took the very life that I brought into this world. Please do not for 1 second think that he could be rehabilitated at any point. He is beyond saving. He should have to pay for his crime against my daughter. Justice is an empty word for our family, as it can never bring Tristan back, but justice is for society. And he should have life without parole. Thank you for everything that you've done in this case, and I know that you have really hard choices in front of you. I'm going to be placing 2 rocks into this. This rock, this white stone, is for her sister, Sophia, who will never have the opportunity to be a big sister again, and you stole that from her. This last one is for me, and it represents everything that you have stolen from me. My words, my joy, my hope, my future, and my beautiful daughter.
On February 6, 2023, Aiden changed his plea from not guilty to guilty. He wrote a letter apologizing for the pain he caused Bailey's family and friends. Judge Lee Smith called his the most difficult and shocking case that he had presided over. This was not done out of greed. It was not done in retaliation, retribution, or revenge. It was not a crime of passion. It was not a crime that was committed because he felt rejected by her. It was not done in a fit of uncontrolled anger. There was no reason. There was no purpose. It was done for no other reason than to satisfy this defendant's internal desire to feel what it was like to kill someone.
Mr. Fucci, if you and your attorneys would please rise. Counsel, is there any legal reason why this court cannot impose sentence at this time?
No, sir.
Mr. Fucci, having entered a plea of guilty to the crime of first-degree murder, I adjudicate you guilty of the premeditated first-degree murder of Tristan Bailey. I sentence you to life in prison. Because of your age, you are eligible for review of the sentence in 25 years. I order the Department of Corrections to notify you when you are eligible to apply for your review hearing. Madam Clerk, if you will please impose the minimum fines and court costs. Mr. Fucci, you have 30 days to appeal the legality of this court's sentence. If you wish to appeal but cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. You will be taken back to the Duval County Jail and then transported into the Florida State Prison System. We are adjourned.
Crystal Smith was also charged with 1 felony count of evidence tampering, but released shortly after. Bailey's family formed the Tristan Bailey Memorial Foundation, which helped enact a law in the state of Florida that restricts the disclosure of crime scene photographs of any minor who has been murdered in the state.